Having just spent time at Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota and hearing about the tales of Wounded Knee, I can't help but bring attention to Leonard Peltier, perhaps the most famous Native American political prisoner. While relatively recent, his case is just one link in a long chain of injustices against First Nations people dating back centuries. Of course, it all begins with the seizure of lands belonging to the Lakota Indians by European settlers and the subsequent genocide that followed. In 1868 at Pine Ridge, near an area known as the Black Hills, the U.S. government guaranteed sovereignty to the First Nation residents there. But when gold was discovered, the government seized the land, and the struggle over ownership of the Black Hills continued. On December 28, 1890, the U.S. Army massacred over 145 Native American men, women, and children at Wounded Knee Creek in Pine Ridge, which is why Peltier, along with other activists from the American Indian movement, chose the symbolic place to stage an occupation at a time where tribal tensions over treaty negotiations ran high. But guys, these were the days of COINTELPRO, so of course, the FBI was on the case. What resulted was a 71-day armed standoff between activists and U.S. law enforcement. The end of the occupation marked the beginning of a 3-year-long period of violence between supporters and opponents of the tribal government, who were working with the FBI to fight the activist movement there. At the height of the unrest, yet another conflict broke out, known as the Pine Ridge Shootout. And when the gun smoke cleared, 2 federal agents lay dead, along with 1 Native American. 3 members of the Pine Ridge Reservation were arrested in connection to the shooting. And while 2 of the men were tried and acquitted, Peltier fled to Canada before being extradited back to the U.S. and given a separate trial. Although a multitude of evidence was withheld during the trial, including a ballistics test proving the deadly shell casing didn't come from his gun, Peltier was found guilty of killing both FBI agents and sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in prison in 1977. Since then, more evidence has surfaced that makes the case even more contentious. However, Peltier's request for a new trial has been repeatedly denied. This injustice against Peltier is just a microcosm of the centuries of maltreatment of the indigenous population of this country. Look, it's clear that he's a political prisoner being held as a symbol to send a stark message to all First Nations people. In America, justice is reserved for the colonial elite. So don't you dare step out of line.